Today I wanted to bring an updated version of the Hyperthin Ciri deck. It worked pretty well, but there were a couple things I really wanted to change out after playing a few games with the deck. And we'll just go through the deck again real quickly, and I'll go into a couple new games. And there's one thing I want to mention here at the end before we get into the actual games, but for now let's just go through the deck. Roll Decree is still in here, it's really good for consistency. Invocation, yep, Nova's still here. Obviously the Vilgefortz, Xarthisius, Roach, Doadric, Triss, Yennefer, and Knickers are all in here still. And Snowdrop, these are the higher end cards. One thing to point out, I don't know if I mentioned this in the previous video, Doadric with Snowdrop generates 2 points a turn. So you can actually get value there, although Snowdrop's going to get really tall. He's going to be tall anyway, so he's probably going to die. But keep that in mind. And Doadric coming out while you have a Mage Assassin's ideal because you get the Zeal on the order. And then we have the Knicker Snowdrop, Dead Man's Tongue. Dead Man's Tongue is a key card when you're playing a deck that can interact with your deck count. I mean, that's like a Scoundrel. For Syndicate, they're playing Scoundrel. You can adjust your Dead Man's Tongue from 2 bronze cards to 1 if there's only 1 bronze left in your deck, and you can set that up in round 3. That means you have to hold on to it, or you can banish a gold. And the thing about the big gold part is really there's no good target. Best target for banishing a gold is going to be, unfortunately, Doadric. And the reason why is you can't banish Decree or Nova or Vilgefortz or any of these cards because they're key to the deck. Doadric you can also banish Invocation, although I don't like doing it. So that's just to mention in a deck where they interact with your deck. So Scoundrel, Mirror Match, they'll Vilgefortz you offensively and they'll change your deck count, so you're going to have to do something about that. Dead Man's Tongue is one way to do that. But there's other ways, so you can also Fair Cart without playing a special. You can Afon just out of hand. You can Mage Assassin out of hand, but these are all bad. The one that gives you the most value still is just going to be your Dead Man's Tongue on a gold. Then we have the Afon, the Fair Cart I mentioned, Imperial Golem, Albric. You can swap Albric for a Blightmaker if you want to. The reason I like Albric is it gives you the option, if you draw into your Mage Assassins in Afon earlier, to boost your Imperial Golem, and that gives you an extra 6 points on your finisher, which is quite nice. So that's why he's in here over Blightmaker, in case you're all wondering. That's a strong thing you can do with him. Then we have the Coded Weapons. Now, I was playing Maxi here. In the games of this video, with Maxi's still in the deck, I recorded those earlier, and the later games I recorded after taking out Maxi didn't, well, they got corrupted, because my hard drive's really awful. But we're going to ignore that. So yeah, in the games here, you're going to see Maxi in this slot. I changed it out to Coded Weapons. Coded Weapons is really helpful in the mirror match. It ruins the opponent's deck by giving them extra bronze. And combine that with Vilgefortz, it's really hard to play around, because they can play around 1 pretty easily. Like I said, we can do it with Dead Man's Tongue and whatever. The Coded Weapons giving the mirror match a second card is really beneficial, because it can honestly just win you the game straight up. And the other thing is I wanted more removal and damage to deal with the Scoia tael decks. I decided that this deck, I really wanted to focus this deck in on bullying the Scoia tael spell decks with Precision Strike. I really wanted to bully that deck with this one as much as possible. Like I said already, it's really good. Well, I guess I said this in the last video. This deck's really good against control decks because you don't play engines outside of 2 points a turn from Snowdrop with Doadric, which doesn't really count. So against control decks, you do extremely well. The thing is, with the Mage deck, if they get Whisperers going, then they can actually beat you in a long round. And you don't want that, because you want to win that round 1 to get your game plan off. And there was a ton of those Scoia tael decks around, so I decided just to focus this in on that deck, and against other engine decks like Patience Mages, and just make this deck to bully those. So that was the thought process here. And then on the off chance you run to a mirror match, Coded Weapons could potentially give us a free win. And so I picked it over Assassinate. And you don't want too many locks, because locks aren't really good, because Whisperers have Veil, and they play Purify either through Mahakam Ale in the Scoia tael decks, or the Dryad's Caress. But we still have the 1 lock, because it's really good in other matchups. Especially in Syndicate, because Syndicate won't expect you. They don't expect Hyperthin to play any removal, outside of Triss and Vilgefortz. So you can sometimes get a win by just blocking their coin spender and then killing their other coin spenders, their damage guys, and you can get a win that way sometimes. And with Tourney Joust, again, this used to be Imperial Diplomacy. Imperial Diplomacy was helpful versus monsters, but the matchup was still bad. So I gave up on that, just putting Tourney Joust and really focusing on winning versus the engine decks. And, well, specifically the engine decks aren't monsters, because we struggle enough versus monsters as it is. Monsters we beat with a good hand, not through our luck RNG of Imperial Diplomacy. There's too many monsters hard to consistently get a Larva and Witch Apprentice, which are the best ones. It's really good when you do get them, and it's kind of fun to play around in the card, but aside Tourney Joust is where it's at. And with the 2 Tortoises, still really good. And the only thing that these are weak to is Syndicate. They'll pull one of these out with Scoundrel, and it gives them quite a bit of value. And the 1 Novice, still really good. I consider cutting one of these Tortoises for a second Novice, but I like this how it is, and only the 2 Mage Assassins. So this is the updated deck, and let's get into the games. Let's find the first game then. So hopefully we'll run into Scoia tael Precision Strike. It's been really popular, and it's been most of my games lately. Then there's another one, rather unsurprisingly at this point, and this deck absolutely bullies them. I expect, when I face off against them, close to a 90% win rate. Not saying that we can't lose, but I expect about 9 out of 10 times we'll beat them here. And with Tourney Joust, we should be able to really hammer that home. We want to keep those in our hand. They're really valuable, because we can kill a Dol Blathanna Whisperer, which is their only way to win a round 1 versus us, is to have a Whisperer that goes unanswered. And they can also kill Elven Seer if they don't have a Whisperer. We also have the Lock. Lock's not that great here, although he's not going to be having Veil. Normally they play Crystal Skull for the Veil, but Lock's a little bit better here then. They still either play Mahakam Ale or the Purify in Dryad's Caress. And Duncan has Veil anyway, but we're going to Invocation that away. The reason why we want Invocation this is it offers us a lot of value. Since her Order with Zeal is 3 damage, that's another way to get rid of Dol Blathanna Whisperer, and Dol Blathanna Whisperer is really the threat in this matchup. For us at least. If we can't answer one, we could run into trouble. And like I said, here it is. We have our Tourney Joust. We'll really teach this one a lesson, and with that gone, I'm confident we win the round. We're going second here. Winning on even is nice but not required. It's not a big deal if we don't. Will be nice if we do. That sort of deal. We also are holding our Ciri Nova, which is really nice. Gotta be a little careful with that though. He has leader charges and rebukes for sure. So we're gonna lose it. He's gonna Mahakam Ale this or Dryad's Caress it. This was just more or less the play card I don't mind losing. Or I know it's not gonna get much value. Since we did a big swing with our Invocation and took away the boost on his stratagem, we can afford to play some smaller cards here, and we'll have to play some larger ones to keep up with our point swings from the tempo of our thinning cards. Speaking of the thinning cards, we don't actually have a Fawn or either of our Mage Assassins in hand. We also don't have our Albric, so it's not going to be as strong as it normally would. Just gotta keep that in mind. I think we'll Maxi here to look through our deck. And I've been thinking about taking Maxi out, just because I think a damage card might be better, say a Assassinate type of thing, just because we have so much consistency. Putting the Imperial Golem on the bottom with Maxi is not that great, because you can do that with Doedric too, and we have so much consistency that I don't think it's really needed. So I've really been toying around taking her out for a damage card. I think I will. Maybe after a game or two more. But for now, let's see what he's doing. We have the fair card. Okay, there's Elven Seer. Now we're not going to be able to kill that, so we just need some orbs. Probably can get an extra orb off of it. No big deal. We can deal with everything that isn't an unanswered Whisperer, in my opinion. And I wanted to draw into our card we took from him. We'll banish a couple bronzes here. Yeah, I want to draw into this in case he has another Whisperer and he's trying to set up a way to win the round. This way we can kill it if he has it. And now he knows that, and as long as we have this in our hand, his Whisperer will be in a lot of threat. Alright, he's on a leader here. He won't win the round now, but it's not going to be uneven. So we're still going to win, but it won't be uneven anymore. Sim lost double orb, basically what we expect here. And he could win the round here, but the thing is, we're just going to throw down Ciri Nova. With leader charges gone, he has no way to kill it without Heatwave. I haven't seen a lot of Heatwave out of these decks. They've been relying on their pings and rebukes for their control. So I'm pretty sure we just throw down Ciri Nova and she'll be fine to live here. And that's what we're going to do. Now, if he passes, we can get rid of the Dunka. We can draw into a tactical or a Tourney Joust, and we can also play Triss. As long as the Mage Assassins are out of our deck, Triss is solid because she'll do at least 3 damage, and honestly that's all we need if he's playing a Dol Blathanna Whisperer. Killing that should be enough to guarantee a round win. At least that's the thought process here. He might just pass here. If he does not pass, we'll play the Novice, and then we'll play the Dunka. If he does pass, we'll just play the Dunka, because the Novice has enough points. He is going to pass, and we'll just play this Dunka. The 3 damage was nice, but I'm fairly confident we can get into more damage next round, and we have Triss. So we don't really need to save her for that damage on a Whisper, and it's also not a 10-card round. Just keep in mind the orbs will be coming back this round, though. Well, it'd be nice if we get our Vilgefortz, so if he plays something and then brings them back, there's a Fawn, that's nice. We do want... Triss is better to keep... Oh, it's Mage Assassin. Triss is better to keep her than Yennefer. We'll put her back anyway, so we can get both Mage Assassin, so she does not guarantee 3 damage, and she's better later on. Well, like I was saying, Yennefer is worse to keep than Triss because Triss's damage doesn't need as high an upside. You don't need 12 damage almost all the time. Well, you almost never need 12 damage off the Imperial Golem. We'll pull our Fawn out here with a Novice. Very nice having the Novice in the deck. It helps because you have Albric to pull out of the deck, and you have the Tactical Decision activation of the leader, which will also trigger the top of deck abilities, but if you miss somewhere in there, there's an extra Mage Assassin, you can do your Fawn. The Novice can deal with that for you. Okay, so he's going Feign Death. Let's use our deck. We're missing some pretty key cards. I think we'll Snowdrop, Leader, see what we get into, and... Okay, that helps quite a bit. Put the Golem back. Well, no, he's not going to be on... He's not going to be the top card we put back. So we want... Oh yeah, so that's correct. We just shuffle 2 in with Snowdrop. Let's see what we get here. We really want to see our last Mage Assassin. We do not. Now that's normally not ideal. The only reason I'm doing this, because this could mess up our thin to whatever number. Because we still have 1 Mage Assassin, right? And the only way to thin it is with our Albric. I wouldn't have done this if we'd used our Albric already, because we can still thin to the correct number of cards with Albric since he's in our deck. We'll just have to do it in round 3. Not the end of the world. You really don't want to have a Mage Assassin left over, though. If we didn't have Albric left in our deck, we wouldn't Tactical Decision, because we could end up with a Mage Assassin and having 2 cards in deck instead of 1. Really bad for Xarthisius. This is really tempting for my Vilgefortz here. Is getting all the orbs back. We can just deny all of their value by Vilgefortzing this, which we're going to do. Unfortunately, there's nothing he can do about this, and if we pull the Herald Gourd out of his deck, I think he'll just quit. No, but this Forest Protector, that's a good one to pull out too. Usually, I think once here we've pulled Herald Gourd, once we pulled Simlos, they both quit immediately. Actually, I think we did Simlos more than once. I think one of them kept playing. Okay, there's a Rebuke. If he had... Nah. No, I think that was good. So here we go. Let's put on the bottom. Honestly, at this point, I'm not convinced in the Tourney Joust being needed anymore. So I think we'll get rid of that. Every time we use Doedric, we get 2 points here on our Snowdrop, which is nice. He might be playing some big removal Heatwave. That's going to stop our Doedric from going. We're up by 24 here. These are both good. Yeah, we're just going to pass. We're up a lot. And the short round 3 should be beneficial to us. I'm not even sure he can do this in 1 card. He has no carryover, no orbs. Fauve comes out. That might get him there if he goes for his Herald Gourd, but then we definitely win round 3. Elven Seer, is he going to try and generate orb carryover, perhaps? He needs something to carry over here, because this 1 card's not going to cut it. He's going to Heatwave or Snowdrop. Well, with Heatwave gone, our round 3 just got significantly stronger, because that was 1 card I was a little concerned he might have to deal with our big Xarthisius or Yennefer target. And with last say here, I am confident we've won. We do need to We have Albrecht to put our Mage Assassin on top, which we're putting back into our deck. The thing is, Tourney Joust is still in there. Okay, we'll just go with this. The issue here is that we're going to have Tourney Joust and Imperial Golem. The reason that it's not a big deal is because the only thing, Yennefer and Triss still always hit Golem. The only thing is Xarthisius could hit the Tourney Joust instead of Golem. That's not that bad, honestly. If there's a second unit in here, I'd be a little concerned, but as it is, no big deal. And we'll just Triss this next one so we can't get a chain of these guys going. We can finish with Royal Decree onto our Golem. And we'll just kill this one off. Yeah, we lose a couple points on Xarthisius by having a special card left in our deck if we hit it, but Yennefer and Triss are still at full power. So this isn't the end of the world, that's for sure. And we've set up a... We got to this position with these two cards in our deck by pushing so hard round 2, but I think in the end that will be worth it, and that'll be what wins us the game here. So he has Herald Gord, but there's honestly no way he can win here. We'll see it in a second here. He's going to lose. And there's the Gord for 19. That's not big enough. My Xarthisius alone passes that. Imperial Golem also beats it, and he's going to quit here. So, GG. This is precisely what the deck's designed to do. If you want a textbook example of how to play the deck, and what decks this does really well against, it's this one right here. And that was our last one of our next games. So here then, we have Inspired Zeal. Probably Commandos, although it could be triple dual Patience. I've seen that a couple times. Yeah, they have duels with Patience. They could also be playing duels with the Northern Realms, the Blue Stripes Commandos. Or they could just be playing Blue Stripes Commandos, you never know. Either way, here it looks like we'll just start off with a... Where's our Albrecht? There he is, the front of our deck. Well, not necessarily front of our deck, the top of our ordering here. We'll look through our deck, and let's pull out this. We have a Fawn in hand, our second Mage Assassin in our hand. We lose out on 2 damage, but I want to get the thinning going just help as many points as possible. And honestly, we have Tourney Joust, so I'm not concerned. Tourney Joust and our Cavalry, so I'm not concerned that the damage is really lost here. We have answers to engines. Is this going to be Amphibious Assault into Blue Stripes Commando? No, it's just going to be Boiling Oil. We have to watch out for Boiling Oil, because it could purify Ciri Nova if we put her next to a 5. I'm probably going to forget that and do it anyway. But we'll just try to keep it in mind if possible. We can go Doadric here. Put the Imperial Golem on the bottom. There he is. Just put on the bottom. This is what I was thinking. Oh, I forgot to take out Maxi. I was going to take Maxi out for Assassinate or something. Because we already have Doadric to put her on the bottom. There's so much consistency. I should have taken her out. We'll take her out later. So, Doadric. And there's our Tortoise. Put him on the bottom. Now, we'll lock this guy. We could damage him. I think I'd rather lock him. Keep the damage for something else. It's basically the same thing. The damage is more flexible because we can boost our own guy. Or the Tourney Joust is more flexible than the lock. There's a Marine. We can Doadric again. Okay, our hand's getting pretty refined here to what I want. We can go for our Novice here and do one of our Mage Assassins or a Fawn. I like the Mage Assassin, he zaps something. Fawn's slightly bigger, as in 1 point bigger, so we'll hold on to him for a bigger swing later on. It's just it's not a big deal, just 1 extra point, but all the extra points you can get are pretty good. Especially considering this round 2 is going to be a little bit longer, it might be harder for us to win. Now if he's playing Commandos, which we've seen no signs of, but I think he is. I feel like it's Commandos. If it's Patience, Inspired Zeal I've seen only Patience and Commandos. If it's Patience, he would have played his Bronze guys already. So we know it's not. That leaves Commandos as the only popular deck I could think this would be. Oh, Ciri Nova's nice here. This hand's pretty good. Let's see, we've got Snowdrop. We don't need to draw 3 from our leader here. We could just Snowdrop and draw 2. Because we have a Fawn and our... We played our second Mage Assassin already. Yeah, we just have the Fawn. We lose a point, we lose points on Snowdrop, but if we want to accelerate really quickly, we could do that. Obviously it's not ideal, but there's a lot of cards that are difficult to play around here. There's Donmir of Troy. I think we'll Vilgefortz that. And then we can Invocation the guy behind it, which should probably be Foltest. We could have Invocation that, and then Vilgefortz Foltest, but Vilgefortz is more flexible because we keep him, we can pull our Imperial Golem round 3. So if he does not actually have the Foltest, that's not a big deal. Commandos, he's going to Zeal that. Now here we have two choices. He's going to armor that one up. So we could Invocation that Commando, which would stop his entire chain of Commandos here. Except for the fact he's going to have Foltest, and this is our only answer to Foltest. So we'll just go for the points method here. Snowdrop, draw 2, shuffle 2 back. At this point we're pretty well set up. We do have to make sure we have bronzes left in our deck to banish with our Dead Man's Tongue. And we'll go for our guy here. Make sure we put a Fawn on top. There's our Maxi. Let's see. These are going back on top. Doesn't really matter. We'll put Maxi on top in case we defensively Vilgefortz. She's the biggest thing other than Golem in our deck. We're very unlikely to do that, but just in case. There's the Foltest. Here comes Invocation right away. I'm curious if he's going to boost him at all. Actually, do we have anything in our deck? We've got Maxi. If it wasn't for this Yennefer we put back, we could just Triss order this down. Or Triss deploy it down. Triss is really nice because you don't need the full damage from her ability. You just need enough to kill whatever the high value thing is. So here we'll play her card. Dead Man's Tongue. We draw our Foltest. We knew that was going to happen. We'll banish these tortoises. I like having the removal here. Actually, we'll banish 1 and 1. 1 and 1 seems good. And we'll boost here. Didn't really want to click on the Tourney Joust there, but it popped up real quick and I was sort of clicking pretty fast and did it by accident. Don't think it makes a difference. We already had the one in our hand, so I wasn't too concerned. Now, we're not going to be able to kill this other one, but he's going to have trouble spawning more at this point. We can just drop Foltest. He's just going to be a 5. We could boost something next to it for 6, actually. No bronzes that he's going to do. But we'll just drop him and pass. Yeah, we'll just drop him and pass. Let's see. Well, we can't put him... I'm actually really concerned here about the fact that Vilgefortz ended up next to our Ciri. So if he has Boiling Oil, we're getting Ciri purified here. That's kind of awkward. If we can't put him in between, that doesn't help. Oh, we should have put him still so he boosted something. I was thinking if we put him next to Vilgefortz, he could boost Vilgefortz to 6, but then Foltest is next to Ciri. She still gets purified with Boiling Oil. It's pretty awkward. Yeah, okay, ideally we should have put Foltest next to something for +1 point. I was just a little sidetracked by realizing we forgot to put our Ciri Nova away from something for Boiling Oil. Although I've seen most of these people running just 1 Boiling Oil instead of 2, because they have reinforcements also. We'll just count on him not having it. I even said earlier we have to... Oh, here it is. Oh, he didn't purify her. Oh my goodness, thank goodness. I said earlier in this game that we would have to watch out for this, but... ultimately it might not matter here. We'll just go for the 2-round push. I don't think he has anything left. Our short round 3 could be beaten by his Pavetta and then these blue stripes. That's what I'm concerned about. So we're just going to go for the 2-round push here. Our deck's set up really well for this. The only thing we have to watch out for is that Yennefer could boost. You could boost by Yennefer, but we have 2 7s, a 12, and a 3. Odds are these are most likely going to be boosting by at least 7 points, and I think that that will be enough to get us the round and stop his Pavetta from going. I guess at least 6 points, and there's the GG. Yeah, we read that correctly, I think. Even though we slightly messed up, we still had Ciri Nova carry over. GG. Alright, for this one I wanted to go back to Imperial Diplomacy for a minute, just to test it out again. Tourney Joust felt really good, but I want to make sure I feel that way about it, so we're trying out Imperial Diplomacy for just one more game here. Against Scoia tael, we're just going to double banish it for our... what's it called? Dead Man's Tongue, so it's basically the same thing as Tourney Joust in that it's not going to be in our deck. But if we had Tourney Joust, we'd have it in our hand. I just wanted to see what it feels like. Oh, this is full no unit. We got this. Doesn't matter what we have here. Actually, Tourney Joust would have been worse here because he's going to have nothing to target. And boosting ourselves, I guess it's worth 5 because 1 will block a Cataclysm damage from the shield. But we'd have to rely on having a unit. Okay, so this was just to see how we felt about having, instead of Tourney Joust, the Imperial Diplomacy back again. And oh, I forgot to change out Maxi again. I forgot Maxi again. Whatever. So, just ignore that. So here, we're just going against no unit, and the thing is, we just have to watch out for Northern Wind and Moondust on Ciri, and we'll be okay. Actually, just Moondust, really. The Banish isn't too bad. Doesn't do anything here. I think we'll just take his Madoc. This denies him a ton of carryover value, while he will most likely have a Herald Gourd finisher, or a card that's been boosted by a couple orbs. Think about it this way. Through the course of this game, I'm guessing he'll play 6 bombs. Well, 5 or 6 more bombs. That means that this invocation saves us 15 to 18 damage and takes 3 points away from him. So over the course of the game, we worth around 20 points, in my opinion, which is quite good. And now here, we could put something in the ranged row, but then we can't do a lock. So I think we will just accept Roach here, taking 2 damage. We'll lock this dwarf guy. I'm guessing that he'll making a bomb us to the ranged row with something now to keep getting Sabertooth value. That's not too bad. We'll keep eating a little bit of damage from the Sabertooth, but we're so heavy on the point slam that his removal won't be great, and especially without Madoc, there's the making a bomb we were talking about. Let's see how many points this invocation saved us for the course of the game. That's 1 bomb. I think here we just Dead Man's Tongue. So yeah, if these 2 Imperial Diplomacies, which we're about to banish, were instead Tourney Jousts, I would banish them also because he's playing no unit. And in this game, they literally make no difference. Interesting. We'll boost the ranged one. Technically, boosting the melee one could have been better, as the ranged one will keep getting hit by Sabertooth, but we're going to put something else in its row. As in, we're going to drop Ciri Nova in that row. I don't think he would have kept 2 Moondusts in his hand. And let's see what he does. It definitely was better to put it in the melee row. The boost, by the way. Thinking about it, because he will probably kill one of our guys in the melee row. There's a Thunder. Going for the full value there. Oh, just going leader. Let's see. We're just going to be down to the cavalry. I think we throw down Ciri Nova. At this point, the threat of him dropping all his leader charges and then a Nature's Rebuke to make Ciri's carryover bad is relevant. Let's get our Mage Assassins going, though. Let's put back Knickers, Mage Assassin. Actually, just Mage Assassin, Afon, and then Knickers in that order. This will get us a swing. And we want to stay ahead. We'll put his here, and now we have full throws set up. So by boosting with Dead Man's Tongue, we didn't actually, in the range, we didn't actually lose any value. That's pretty nice. Now we're going to keep pushing to win on even here. I think this deck against him, we have a huge chance to do so. His deck is so vulnerable to the amount of points that we can throw down. And we'll put down Ciri Nova coming up too. Transforming doesn't give any more damage, and he'd lose the boost, so he's not going to. We're ahead by a little bit, so we'll just drop Madoc. He gives us no value later on, whereas Ciri Nova could be slightly better later on. We'll just drop him now. The later we drop Ciri Nova, the better, because he won't have his bomb. The less likely to have a Moondust if he's holding out to it, which again, I don't think he is. Let's see what he plays here. Kind of curious what it's going to be. This could be Simloss here. It should be his best play, but I don't think it makes us lose the game, or lose the round even. It's just going to be a Maxi. That's fine. I think we drop Ciri Nova. No, we'll Vilgefortz first. We'll Vilgefortz this away because we could destroy his deck by pulling Gourd or Simloss. And there's the Simloss. Ooh, that's going to hurt him. He might just leave at this point. We didn't need that to win the game. Let's just make that very clear. We didn't need to do that to win the game. Yeah, he's going to DC here on us because he's lost. We did not need to pull out Simloss to win the game. We were going to win this round anyway, most likely on, well, almost certainly on even, with Ciri Nova carryover. And at that point, he's playing no unit, his Madoc's gone, what's he going to do? He's going to be facing a point slam deck with no engines, down a card, against 8 points of carryover with no leader ability left, and a short round 3 he can't hope to compete with, because we could just pass to go to a short round 3 with double Last Say, and he still has to beat a Ciri Nova with 1 card, so he'd most likely have to use up his Force Protector as one of his bigger cards, and that's probably, we're almost guaranteed to win at that point. But in the end, in this game, he did end up getting Simloss pulled by Vilgefortz, and that's a free win. GG. In conclusion with the deck, I really like it, and the flexibility in the bronzes is nice. You can swap out Tourney Joust and Coated Weapons for something different if you don't want the damage. And if you do want the damage to really just bully stuff like Scoia, it's here. You can take out the Elven Seers with these, you can take out the Elven Seer with this, although they'll get another one. Block's less good there, but this deck really does quite well against the Scoia Precision Strike, to the point where it's not a guaranteed win, because you can still lose to stuff like Simloss Orbs if you don't draw well. Well, actually, you'd have to draw really badly, but you can do it most of the time. It's really strong. The only thing you got to watch out for is really a Syndicate. If Syndicate's popular, I would be hesitant to run this. For one, you're not going to prey really on the Scoia decks it's designed to. 2, the Scoundrel really messes you up, and 3, they can fill up your Ciri Nova. Also, 4, they run Curt, so they always have a Purify for your Ciri Nova. On top of that, and in addition to all the things we just mentioned, Tunnel Drill and Freak Show can blow through Ciri Nova's shield and just kill her. So the deck's really not ideal versus Syndicate, and if you're placing a lot of Syndicate, I would try running something else perhaps. But this deck's fun, that's for sure. And yeah, I guess with that said, let's see where we finished our ranking. That was our last faction we needed to rank up with, and clear 25 games with. Let's see where we are in Pro Rank. Let's see where we are. We're 186 right now. That's pretty good. Obviously, we'll drop down as other people finish all their factions, but maybe we'll actually try and let's quickly get this so it shows everybody correctly. Maybe we'll actually try and push a little bit this season. Maybe go for the top 200 title. I don't think we have it for this season yet. But yeah, it looks like we're doing pretty well. And we'll take a look at some other decks, perhaps. Now that we're in Pro Rank, there's a couple of factions we're not going to push our MMR with. We can fool around with some more memey stuff there and see what we can make work. Anyway guys, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.